Alright, so before anyone gets angry in the comments, let me make something clear right away. I understand why Michael Jackson is considered one of the greatest artists of all time. The influence, the performances, the dancing, the music videos, the stage presence, he changed pop culture forever. And I'm not here to argue that he wasn't talented. What I'm saying is that personally, I've never connected with his music the same way a lot of other people seem to. And the main reason comes down to something pretty simple. I think a lot of his songs are way too repetitive, and because of that repetition, they often feel way longer than they actually need to be. Chapter 1. The songs feel stuck in a loop. Whenever I listen to a lot of Michael Jackson songs, I feel like I get the entire idea of the song within the first couple of minutes. You hear the verse, then the chorus, then another verse, then the chorus again, then a bridge, then more choruses, then somehow another verse, then another chorus, then more choruses. And by that point, I'm sitting there thinking, didn't we already do this? It's not that the songs are bad, it's just that I feel like the song has already said everything it wanted to say, but it keeps going. A lot of the time, I feel like the same musical idea being repeated over and over until the track finally ends. Some people love that because it makes a song catchy. For me, it has the opposite effect. And instead of making me want to keep listening, it makes me kind of want to check how much time is left. Chapter 2. I really don't like the songs. This is probably just a personal preference, but I've never been a huge fan of long songs. If a song is 6 minutes long, there better be a good reason for it. Maybe the story is evolving, maybe the beat changes, maybe the artist is taking the song somewhere new. But if the song is mostly repeating the same verses and choruses, then 6 minutes starts feeling like 10. And that's how I feel about a lot of Michael Jackson's music. Not every song, obviously, but enough of that, I've noticed a pattern. Sometimes I'll be listening and think the song has to be almost over, and then I look at the time and realize there's still 2 minutes left. That's when the repetition really starts standing out to me. Chapter 3. Great performer, different conversation. The thing is, I think a lot of people mix together Michael Jackson the performer and Michael Jackson the songwriter. Those aren't exactly the same discussion. As a performer, Michael Jackson was unbelievable. Honestly, there isn't much debate there. If the guy could walk onto a stage and have an entire stadium losing their minds before he even sang a note, his performances were events. His music videos were events. Everything he did felt larger than life. And I think that's one reason people remember the song so fondly. The performance adds another layer to the experience, but when I'm just sitting there with headphones on, listening to the song by itself, that's where I start noticing the repetition a lot more. Chapter 4. A comparison to Juice WRLD. A comparison that came to mind recently is Juice WRLD, and before anyone misunderstood what I'm saying, I'm not comparing their impact, influence, and careers. And there's definitely no glaze, he's definitely not my favorite rapper. Like, what? Why would he? But back to the topic, Michael Jackson's place in music history is on a completely different level. What I'm talking about is how I personally experienced their songs. A lot of Juice WRLD songs were built around freestyling and flowing over a beat. Even when a song is repeating a hook, it often feels like he's adding new thoughts, new lines, or new emotions as the song goes on. There's a sense that the song is moving somewhere. With some Michael Jackson songs, I don't always get that feeling. Sometimes it feels like we've reached the destination early, and then we spend another few minutes circling around the same idea. That doesn't make Juice WRLD better, not even close to what I'm saying. It's just a difference in songwriting style that I personally connect with more, which Michael Jackson didn't write all of his songs. Actually, most of his songs he actually didn't write. But, no disrespect, no disrespect. Chapter 5. Why people love it. Now, clearly, millions of people disagree with me, and honestly, I get why. Michael Jackson understood something about pop music that very few artists ever have. He knew how to make songs memorable. If you've heard one of his biggest songs, chances are you can remember parts of it years later. That's not easy to do. The repetition that bothers me is actually the same thing that makes the music work for a lot of other people. The hooks get stuck in your head, the choruses become unforgettable, the songs become instantly recognizable, so while I might see repetition as a weakness, other people see it as one of his biggest strengths. And that's completely fair. Chapter 6. Why I personally prefer Bruno Mars. There's another artist I think about when this conversation comes up, and that's Bruno Mars. Now, before anyone starts typing, I'm not saying Bruno Mars is greater than Michael Jackson. I'm not saying he's more influential. I'm not saying he's more important to music history. Michael Jackson's legacy is untouchable in a lot of ways. But if we're talking strictly about what I enjoy listening to, I find myself going back to Bruno Mars way more often. And a big reason for this is the songwriting. A lot of Bruno Mars songs feel tired to me. They get to the point quickly. They give me a catchy hook. They gave me a memorable verse, and they wrap things up before they overstay their welcome. When I listen to a song like Locked Out of Heaven or 24K Magic, which are popular and I don't like overplayed songs, but like those ones are chill, I don't usually feel like the song is dragging on. I get to enjoy the experience, and by the time it's over, I'm ready to play it again. With some Michael Jackson songs, I don't always have that feeling. Sometimes I'm ready for the song to end before the song is actually over. Another thing I appreciate about Bruno Mars is that he takes inspiration from a lot of older artists, including Michael Jackson, but packages it in a way that feels more modern to my ears. You can hear the influence, the dance elements, the pop elements, the performance aspect, but the songs themselves feel more streamlined. Again, that's just my preference. If someone told me Michael Jackson is just a better performer, I'd probably agree. If someone told me Michael Jackson had the bigger impact on music, I'd 100% agree. But if the question is simply which artist would I rather listen to on a random day, for me, probably Bruno Mars. Not because I think he's objectively better, just because his style connects with me more. And honestly, I think that's something people forget when discussing music. You don't have to think an artist is the greatest of all time to prefer them. Sometimes an artist's style just fits your taste better, and for me, Bruno Mars fits my taste better than Michael Jackson. Conclusion. At the end of the day, my issue with Michael Jackson isn't that I think he's untalented, it's not that I think he's overrated as a performer, and it's definitely not that I think he didn't earn his place in music history. My issue is much simpler than that. A lot of his songs feel repetitive to me. The repeated verses, the repeated choruses, the long run times, the feeling that the song could have ended a minute or two earlier and still had the exact same impact. That's why his music never fully clicked with me. I can respect what he's accomplished. I can recognize the influence. I can understand why people love him. But when I sit down and listen to music, I generally prefer songs that keep evolving rather than songs that keep repeating. And that's why Michael Jackson has never been one of my personal favorites. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree, or am I completely wrong? Either way, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.